I have a very special guest on the Full Circle today. He is a streamer turned podcaster hosting the incredible podcast Behind the Camera of Andy Games, where he sits down with creators and innovators all around the world to share their stories and personalities behind the camera. He's also releasing a book on the 5th of March 2026 about his journey so far and reflecting on being a podcaster and his conversations. An absolute honor to have on the Full Circle. His name is Andy. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Andy.
Hello, DC. Thank you for that beautiful intro. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on the full circle. It's an absolute pleasure.
No, absolute pleasure. Thank you. Pleasure's all mine. And how are you? How are you today?
I am doing phenomenal. I am doing great. It's been a nice sort of Sunday. Sunday's my release day. And yeah, I did another special recording today, which was very, very good as well. Just had another podcaster on the show.
Yeah. Forget, yeah. Who cares? Probably some rubbish.
No. If you know, you know.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Andy has created a full circle, and we're going to hear his song choices in a second. And we're also going to do some fun features, and obviously we're going to hear about his podcast, and we're going to share some stories, and of course share maybe some stories about one person that we've both had on the full circle, and also on Andy Games. I think in fact, let's just give him a shout out now. Let's just forget about it. Shout out to Frank Turner. Boom, 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 boom,
Yes,
boom.
Frank Turner. What a guy.
Uh,
What a guy.
a great guy. Yeah. What was your favorite? I might as well just ask. What was your favorite part about having him on your show?
I think the fact that I've seen him live a number of times, and one of his shows was actually the best show I've ever been to out of like 130, 140 shows that I've ever been to. It was a show that he did in 2018 in Limelight, Belfast, with support from Arkells and Homeless Gospel Choir. Best show I've ever been to. And I think just to have one of my favorite musicians, to be able to talk to him and be able to, like, sort of, like, pick his brain and, it's just it was just kinda like a starstruck moment for me, like, there's only so much you can kinda, like, learn about a person from, like, their books that they've read or, like, online material, but then when you're speaking to them, like, even virtually, whole other thing, and he was just such a nice, humble, down to earth guy, like, and yeah, it was incredible. Well, I have to return the question to you. What was your favorite part?
Yeah, I mean, like what you've just said there, spot on. Like his live shows are great, and then to be able to actually speak to him and just pick his brain was incredible. I'm going to ask you in a second, so a bit of a warning, but I loved his fun fact. So I always ask guests. I always ask guests what their can they share a fun fact that they never ever have shared. And his fun fact about where he was when he was younger, he played the harp. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's played the harp. I mean, have you?
No? I've known somebody who played the harp before, but that's the closest.
Yeah, and just that little nugget of information was just I was struck away. I really want to give him a harp and just hear him play it. I want him to just bring one out on the stage one time and just play it, just to see if
That
he's
would
still got
be
it.
that would be incredible. I think that would make that'd be worth the ticket price alone, I think.
Oh, definitely, definitely. If Frank Turner's listening to this or watching this, get a harp and play it on stage. And that brings me very nicely, as I said, to so to hearing a fun fact about you, a fun fact that you're willing to share on this podcast, which ideally not many people know about you.
Okay. Um, so whenever you gave me the warning there, I was, like, kind of a little bit terrified because I was like, "Ah, okay." But I think to keep it within the theme of music, um, when I was 11, I got my grade 2 in saxophone and meant to keep it on, but then never did. But, like, I think the fun fact, I suppose, as well, if you would determine that as fun, but I got my grade 2 in saxophone whenever I was a kid, but it was at the point where the saxophone was nearly as big as me whenever I was a kid, and I was somehow able to play it and get my grade 2.
Wow. But you stopped playing after that?
Yeah, so whenever I got my grade 2, it was like I, moved house shortly after. Actually moved countries. I moved from England to Northern Ireland and couldn't find, like, anywhere I could continue on lessons, so I kind of got to the point where I still have the saxophone, like, under my spare bed at home. I still have the saxophone. It's still sitting in its case. I must have had that for 25, 26 years or something like that. I've had it
Wow.
for.
Have you got it out since?
Once or twice, but never more than, um never for more than, like, 30 minutes or something. Like, I feel like I could probably still play, like, basic things on it. Like, if I had the sheet music in front of me for, like, the most basic stuff, I probably could still play it, but, um I don't know. It's just yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, some things are kind of better left in the past, you know?
That's fair. I used to play clarinet when I was
Oh,
younger.
wow.
I got to grade 4, I believe. My mum, though, she always wanted me to play saxophone, and I think the teacher suggested that because I had asthma back then, I don't think I have it anymore, but because I had asthma back then, it'd be a bit too difficult for me to play it. I mean, did you
Yeah.
find it difficult to play?
No, not back then.
No.
I feel like I would struggle now. I would
Okay.
struggle with it now for, like, those kinds of similar reasons, but, like, not whenever I was a kid, no, like, so I never, like, had, like, asthma issues or any of that when I was a kid. Like, I was one of the very lucky few. Like, I was, like, sort of the one of the most sporty kids you would, like, ever see as a kid, like, when I was, like, between, like, up to the age of, like, 13 or 14 or something. Um, and, like, then from, like, 15, 16, it just all went downhill. Through
Oh,
through
no,
my
what?
late teens to 20s and now 30s, it just went all downhill, so I think I would struggle now, but not as a kid. Definitely not.
Fair enough. Look, yeah, I'm sure it's not. I mean, it's you're using the word downhill. I mean, I would call it uphill for other reasons. You know,
Oh, for
you've
other, yeah,
branched
oh,
out to
yeah.
other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Not for physical reasons, but for other reasons.
Your words,
Oh,
your
yeah, 100%.
words.
I'll own it, no problem.
No, fair play. Look, I want to hear the first song that you've chosen for Full Circle. In fact, before you do that, is there the songs you've chosen? Are they like a variety of genres, or is it a mix of like what are the sort of songs that you've chosen for the Full Circle?
Oh, it's definitely a mix of genres. Um, I think everything kind of falls into the sort of rock genre on the most sort of loose terms, but, definitely, like, every song is, like, a different genre, but it would all tie back to, like, rock in this, like I say, in the loosest of terms.
Fair. What's the first song that you've chosen for the Full Circle?
Okay, the first song is "Message in a Bottle" by The Police.
Nice. Why have you chosen that?
So, that was the first song I had ever heard live from a headlining act. My first ever gig back in 2008 was The Police with support from Katie Tunstall. This was so I think it was between 2007 and 2009. The Police did like they did a reunion world tour, like a sort of one and done type thing, and, it was yeah, like, I think, like, just one day, like, my mom and dad turned to me and my brothers, like, "Oh, yeah, we've got us all Golden Circle tickets to go see The Police." Like, my parents grew up on The
Wow.
Police, and it was one of those things, like, I liked what I liked at the time, but I'd never heard The Police before, and then I got to listen to them, and I was like, "These are really good," and then opened up a Mess in a Bottle, and I was just like, "Okay, that's incredible." I would never ever forget that, and that was probably 18 years ago this year.
What a incredible first gig.
I know. I honestly, like, it was that genuinely, like, that reaction is probably, like, par for the course with a lot of reactions that people have had. And I don't think I really appreciated it until much later on in life. I just didn't really understand the sort of, you know, the gravity of it, I suppose, but I look back at it now and think, "Oh my days." Like, I still remember so much of it. Like, even though I didn't really probably at the time know as much of the Police and Sting and all as I do now. Oh man, honestly, like, phenomenal. And to say that was my first gig at 14 years old, something else, like.
That is a class first gig. I think that's cooler than mine. Mine was Razorlight. I think Police are cooler than
Man,
Razorlight.
Razorlight is so good though. They're so good live. So good live.
Yeah, it's yeah, but I mean, like, I reckon if we did a poll, who's cooler, the Police or Razorlight? I reckon, or like, what's the most iconic first gig? I think most people would go for the Police.
But see, I think though that comes down to the wording because like you said, like, if you turn it from preference to iconic, that's 2 different conversations right there, I think.
That's fair. No, but I mean, regardless, what an incredible first song choice and an incredible first gig. So yeah, the Police, Message in the Bottle, the first song on the Full Circle, and of course, I make a playlist of all the songs that Andy chooses. So Andy, you have an incredible podcast behind the camera, and I want to hear about it. I want to hear about what inspired you to start this podcast, and the journey. You've had so many incredible musicians. We've just spoken about having Frank Turner. You've also had Punk Rock Factory. You've had Brendan B. Brown from Wheatus. You've had so many incredible musicians, but also a lot of other innovators and creators, as you say. And I'm just curious to hear like where the itch has come from, and what's got you interested in podcasting.
Well, it's something that I started whenever I was a live streamer on Twitch, and this started in April 2024, and I frequently collaborated with a friend of mine who I'd met through Twitch, and we eventually kind of had like a shared audience essentially. But to the point where they were always like they would always look for us to collaborate with one another and play games together and just our chemistry together, the way we sort of bounced off one another, it was really, really special. And eventually it was one of those kind of stereotypical moments where, 2 guys in their late 20s, early 30s turn to each other and goes, "Oh yeah, we should make a podcast." And that's exactly what we did. We so we started our own podcast, which was like a gaming-based podcast, but it was more in terms of not so much like topical, like what's going on at the moment, but more we would have just like picked things to talk about. So, like for example, we talked about one of the episodes we did was um, games that got turned into movies and movies that got turned into games. For example, a kind of like adaptation sort of thing. We just had like an hour and a half conversation about that, just things like that. We really kind of got like a bug. Well, I got the bug for it particularly, and then my friend Wes, he ended up becoming a games developer. Got like a really, really um good contract with a massive creator, and he ended up making a game called Curiosity. Fantastic. He's done such an amazing job. So I'm very, very happy for how everything's gone for him. But of course, in order for him to do that, we kind of had to sacrifice the time that we had in doing our podcast. But I had the itch. So I was like, okay, I really want to continue podcasting. So I decided to kind of like leverage the sort of network that I currently had at the point where I was like, I know all these people as well who stream. I've met so many people, and there's also all these people have their viewers who they invest so much time into watching them, but how well do they really know them, right? So I was just like, okay, well, let's just kind of do this. I'll reach out to all these people. I'll see if they want to be interviewed for the podcast. We'll do it live on Twitch. And let's see if we can kind of integrate communities and stuff like that. And of course, hear people's stories because storytelling is something for me that's always been like majorly important because someone could walk past you in the street one day and you notice them. You kind of think they could have a story that like nobody's ever going to hear and it could be incredible. That sort of thing. And that's kind of where it stems from, like an old conversation that I had with a friend of mine when I was like 15 or something. So I started interviewing streamers, and that went on for about 6 months, and 6 no, probably a bit longer, but close to 8 months actually, 'cause we got to February 2025, and I had, like, what I would describe as my first famous guest on. and that was Grant Kirkhope. Now, for those who don't know, Grant Kirkhope is a composer. He worked for Rare, which is responsible for games such as GoldenEye 64, Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, Donkey Kong 64, etc. So big Nintendo 64 titles. He composed the music for a lot of them, did some voices, and that kind of went it popped off for people. People were just like, "Wow, like, this is, a big deal," you know? I went from just kinda live streaming, podcast interviewing my friends essentially to, somebody with, no disrespect to anybody interviewed, but with, you know, professional credibility in terms of that, right? And from there, I think I just kind of that just sort of, like, the bug became something more from then. I was just like I think at that point, I went from just being something I wanted to do to being like, "Okay, I feel like I'm more cut out for this than I actually thought." So, at that point, I signed up for there's a podcast service called Podmatch, which essentially the way it's, like, marketed, it's like the Tinder for podcasts, you know, which was quite and it made for an interesting conversation when I told my wife that, but,
Yeah.
But no, she saw the humor in it, so it's all good. But basically, like, you pay so much a month, and it matches you with, like, potential guests, and people can reach out to you, and you can reach out to, like, potential guests and stuff like that. It's great. It really shaped, like it really shaped a lot of 2025 for me, and in that at that point, I was kinda like, "Okay, I think this is like the sort of rebrand that I need where I can go in like rather than look at streamers and content creators, I can focus on people like creatives and innovators. And that to me was like it completely like opened up my world in terms of podcasting. And I realized at that point I never understood what podcasting even was because I didn't, not that I was sort of thinking it's like I'm the only person who does this. It was very much a case of I didn't realize the magnitude of how many people were doing this and the stories that people had to say. And oh my god, the stories people had to tell, sorry, I should say. It just was mind blowing to me. And I think doing that, it made me learn a lot more about myself as a person and a podcast host. And it was like the best thing for my development. So we went from, like you said in the introduction, streamer turned podcaster, and it was like the way I look at it, though, I break it down even further. I go from like I would say that I was a streamer to a streamer with a podcast to a podcaster who streams sometimes to a podcaster because that the journey was just that in depth in terms of everything. And we got to the point where like I'd interviewed so many different people, and then, of course, as you mentioned, Frank Turner, you and I interviewed Frank Turner around the same time, and then you get to the point where you're just like, "I feel like I can interview anybody. I feel like I can do this," and yeah, man, it's been a journey. It has been a journey and a half, and it's one that I kind of feel like there's no end game in it. It's just gonna continue on for as long as I can do it, and I know that's a very, very long-winded answer, but let's see. That is the journey. That's just the journey, man.
No, that is no, what an incredible journey. I mean, yeah, and you're gonna speak about that journey in a lot more detail in your book, which is coming out in
Yeah.
March this year, isn't it? How did that come about? How did what, like, was that something you were thinking of writing for a while, or did it just come out of the blue? What sort of drive you to do that?
Honestly, it kinda just came out of the blue a little bit. It was one of those, like, midnight thoughts, you're lying in bed, you know that time of night where you're, like, the most motivated to do everything, but it's the most inopportune time? It was one of those thoughts. But, like, I think it kinda stemmed from, I had interviewed, like, a lot of people who had written nonfiction before. Um Lots of different areas, walks of life. Like, I think one person was a stuntman and an actor, stuntman, worked so many different projects, but he also wrote a book about speaking. And his, so I asked him what the motivation was behind the book, and he told me that his agent had told him, "If you have a book, you look more credible to get speaking gigs." And I was like, that's incredible. That's phenomenal. So, but I think it was one of those things. I'd spoke to a lot of people who'd written nonfiction, and I kind of was like, reflecting on the journey that I'd been on, and think, for as open as I am about this with my audience, there's still so much that people don't know. And I feel like I think it would be nice to get this all down on a page and just turn it into a book. So they actually have the book
Oh,
here. This is
nice.
so, like, for the purpose of like those watching, this is the first finished copy that will be whenever the book releases. That's what people will receive in the post. Um, but yeah, it's a small read. It kind of just like details the journey that I've been on, and like the things that I've learned, and like the best way to describe would be more like a memoir. So like there are things that I've learned, but not every lesson that I've learned is going to be like applicable to anybody else in the same situation. But it's I yeah, like, I kinda detail it in as much as I possibly can to really what I want people to get out of it is to be like, "Okay, you know, this is how this person felt." I feel like I was able to read this book in this person's voice and really kind of feel how they felt, and I feel like the writing in it is, like, not quite erratic, but there's, like, a heavy emphasis on certain topics, because that's exactly what was that's exactly what, like, my thought process was at the time. There was that kind of repeating these things in my head, and, like, I think it goes quite deep. I think it goes quite deep, but, the writing process, though, it was one of those things where, I've spoke to a lot of writers before, and some people say, "Structure it before you get anything down on a page." Others are like, "If you have an idea, write it down." And I kind of fell into both of those camps simultaneously, because it was for me, it's like, as much as it's like a story and lessons learned, it's like you need a sensical start and finish to it, and I think I've done well. So yeah, like we say, the 5th of March is whenever the book comes out, and I'm as nervous as I am excited of bringing this into the world.
No, fair. I mean, it's yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I think it's going to be yeah, a fascinating read. Is there,
Thank you.
are you nervous because of stuff you might have written? You're like, oh, should I have written that, or was it nerves because of how you think people might react to it? What's making you feel a bit
Oh, I
nervous?
think it's the reaction that people might have 100%. Like, I mean, I try not to. I mean, okay. I look at it and it's kind of ironic because, I mean, as a podcaster, yourself, you're putting yourself out there in the world, and it's a cruel place at the best of times. People judge regardless. But so obviously, like, when you're in this position, you kind of know to sort of you kind of learn to be thick skinned, kind of not to really like let things like that bother you, because it's just a part of the job. But I think because it's something that I have put so much, like, work and effort into, and the fact that it's, like, it's not a creative piece, it's literally a memoir of my story, exactly how I lived it. People may interpret some things, like, to be something that they're not, and that's well within their rights, but, like, I think that's the main thing, because there are probably aspects of the book that I not that I'd be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have written that," but kind of as though I probably could have went in a little bit harder on, but I just thought, "No," because in a sense, it's like digging up old bones. But yeah, more so the reaction of people, but again, that's something I think that as time goes on, I'll probably not even think about, hopefully.
It's so easy said than done, though, isn't it? To sort of
Yeah.
you do. Unfortunately, that is just how it is. You put something out there, and if you'll see all these positive reviews about this is so good, I really enjoyed this, this is great, and hopefully that's all it is. But you might just see that one comment, be like, this sucks, and then you see that comment, and that's the comment that only impacts on you and nothing else. That's just, it's easier said than done, I know, but that's usually how it goes, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, 100%, and a lot of the time, it depends on the sort of day that they catch me. If I put up, like, a TikTok or an Instagram post and somebody has something negative to say, like, one of 2 things will happen. One, I'll look at it and think, that's so unnecessary. Why did you feel like you needed to do that? And, like, it'll bother me to a degree, and I'll eventually get over it and all, like, I won't dwell on it too much. But then, on the other hand, if they catch me on a different day, I will reply to said comment, but I will leave them like a whole big and I it's like a kill 'em with kindness kind of thing. I will literally be like, "Hi, thanks for your response. Thanks for taking time out of your day to leave such a negative response. I really wonder what might have happened at whatever point in your life that's led you to leaving negative comments on random people's social media, but I certainly hope that everything works out and that you can live a fulfilling life." Just something so,
Ah, I love it.
like, passive aggressive like that, and, usually they don't get any responses. Usually people just look and think, "Oh my god, he's actually" it's like, "And he says I've taken time out to write a message like that? Okay."
Yeah, I think I do what you do. I think I see it there's a couple of videos that some reason have gained more traction than others, and sometimes you'll see just a retort and you're just like, "Ah, do I bother? Do I bother?" And other times you're just like, "I'm gonna bother." You
Oh,
know?
yeah. I actually had one on, one of my clips of Frank Turner. Someone just said, "Worst musician ever." And I don't even think I responded to it. I think somebody else responded to it. It was just like, "That's just not true though, is it?" Like, it's just like, "I don't really need to respond to that." That's just like, uh, it was just like, it baffles me though, but, like, I mean, you do get some absolute gems that come through sometimes, but no, like, I think you kinda sometimes have to learn to just deal with them, and that's just because it is part of it comes with the territory, doesn't it? Being like, putting yourself out there online.
Yeah, and I'm well, I mean, I'm 99% certain you're not gonna get a negative comment from your book. That's coming out on the 5th of March. I'm sure of it, and I'm looking forward to reading it.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, so please do check it out if you can. I'm sure it's gonna be an excellent, excellent read. Right, we need to well, we don't need to, but I would want to hear what the second song is. What's the second song on the Full
Okay.
Circle?
The second song is "Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr" by Trivium.
Ooh,
Yeah, quite the difference from "Message in a Bottle." So, this is the song that I've heard the most live. I've seen Trivium live 6 times, and I think they're
wow.
the only band I've ever seen 6 times, but this is the song every single time that they played without fail, so "Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr."
Wow. Incredible. When's the last time you've seen them?
The last time I seen them was January 20 this time 2023, but 3 I can't actually believe it's 3 years ago now. They they were touring the UK and they played Belfast and then they played Glasgow, but they'd announced the UK tour first, but they didn't have any, like, Ireland dates. So, excuse me, me and one of my brothers, he was like, "Well, I'm gonna go to Glasgow. Do you wanna come over? Do you wanna come with me to the Glasgow gig?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, that'll be good. That'll be a bit of a laugh." And then about 2 days after we booked the tickets and the flights, they announced Dublin and Belfast. So I was like, "Okay, guess I'm going to both. Guess I'm going to both." So did Belfast, and then I think it was like 2, 3 days later or something that they did, yeah, they did Belfast on the Monday, and then they did Glasgow on the Thursday, so, like, I seen them twice in 1 week, and incredible, like, honestly, like, I've been a fan of Trivium for nearly 20 years, and they just are they're like a fine wine. They just get better and better with
Mm,
age. Like, they are just phenomenal in studio and live.
nice. No, fair play. A great second song choice. Paul Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr by Trivium. And I also, do you know about the Trivium bullet for my Valentine beef?
Yeah, now, it was one of those things where everyone was so coy about what really kind of went down, and I think there was so much of it that was really downplayed, but, I mean, I think the only people who really know what went down are the 2 bands, to be honest, but that would have been, like, Oh, I mean, I'm sad that they didn't go to Ireland. I was like, that would have been like the gig of a lifetime for me. But yeah, it's a shame that they kind of had to sort of cut it short, and Trivium kind of took up the reins on themselves. But um, it's interesting. I would love to know what exactly it was that went down between the two bands, because why does one band just, you know? Because I think the excuse that I heard was that they wanted to focus on writing their newest album, but it doesn't track. Doesn't
That
track.
was yes, that was exactly, that was what they said at the time, and then cancelled. I think they were gonna do a Australia and New Zealand tour with them. That didn't suffice. That didn't, surface, and then suddenly they're doing a tour. Bullet for My Valentine are doing a tour in Australia anyway with a different band. But, not to say anything, but it just, yeah, like you say, it doesn't seem to add up. Doesn't The conspiracy
No.
theorists might suggest that it's probably not Bullet for My Valentine want to do an album, but I don't know. But yeah, really good second song choice. And yeah, check that one out. Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr by Trivium. Right. Let's do some features. Let's do some Would You Rather. Do you still game? I should have asked you this
I
before.
do, yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Okay. Do you PC or do you console or?
Oh, bit of everything, console and PC. Depends on how the mood strikes, really, to be honest. But yeah, like the whole like gaming side of it, like it turned into more of like a sort of hobby outside of streaming. Like as kind of my streaming time went along, it was interesting. But I go between PC and console.
Okay. This is going to be tough then, I think. Would you rather never be able to game again or never be able to podcast?
Never be able to game again, because as I have played video games since I was 4 or 5 years old, but I don't think I've ever gotten the fulfillment I have out of that I do with podcasting. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but it just is what it is. That is just the way I look at it. It would be incredibly difficult because gaming comes on such a much wider scale than, PC, console. You have mobile games. You have like remember like flash games on the PC, like like you would have went onto a website in the middle of ICT in school that you shouldn't have been on, and
I remember them.
yeah, and it would be tough. It would be tough, but I think yeah, I think I could find a lot more to do with the podcast and podcasting in general if I was like if I was never allowed to game again. I think, I, and as much as I would struggle, I think I would be able to sort of fill that gap.
That's fair. I know we're doing a podcast, and I know that this might be a bit controversial. I'm about to say, I genuinely think if I had to choose one or the other, as much as I don't game, as I still game. I play on PS5 and play the occasional game here and there, and I don't play as much as I'd like. But I think I would. I think if it meant never game again, because me and my fiance, we also play some games together. We play, like, one of the games we play is called Split Fiction. Do you know that game?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I'm familiar. It looks incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and those sorts of things, playing my mates, playing yeah, all those sorts of games that with my friends that we play, and playing the games with my fiance. And I think as much as I love, and this sounds so bad because obviously I'm talking to you, and and things like that. But if it was forever, if it was like, podcasting, I think eventually, like maybe in, like, I don't know, at some stage, I don't want to give a time frame. I might be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but gaming, I don't know if I would.
Mm.
So that's probably why. Just thinking about the long game, pardon the pun. Like that's all.
Yeah,
Ah,
it is a tough one because like there are so many people I think that will go they will have always gamed, but they will put it down for years and go back to it every so often, and just it's one of those kind of old reliable sort of things that people have. And I think there was at one point in my life, I'm pretty sure I was like that too. So yeah, I just think for me personally, where I'm at now in terms of podcasting, I think it's, you know, riding the momentum train and all that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair. And if and I should have said that as well. I should have said that as
No, but you know
well.
what, I see what's you need a bit of controversy. You need that kind of controversy.
Speaking of controversy, would you rather have 20 more minutes of Frank Turner or 20 more minutes of Brendan B. Brown from Wheatus?
Frank Turner, because but the see, again, this I would have loved 20 more minutes with both of them, but I look at the episode lengths for the 2, and I kinda have to judge it based off that. So, whenever I mean, this was probably we probably spoke to the same person whenever who helped coordinate our interviews with Frank Turner, and, um, they said, "Can we cap it at 30 minutes?" So, that's I mean, that's what I was told anyway. Again, it might have just been the day I had. Again, I don't know what other conversations were had, but so I was told I had, basically a strict deadline of 30 minutes, which was fine. With Brendan, it was sort of not so much. I think that it was said 30 minutes, but then, it just kind of went on. So we ended up having a 45-minute conversation. And I think there was certain things with Frank Turner that I kind of had to, similarly to what we were talking about earlier on, off camera, was that, like, there are things that sometimes you just kind of have to brush along for the sake of time when you're on, like, a bit of a schedule. I think I had that more with Frank than I did Brendan, and so I think yeah, I think I would definitely say I would 20 more minutes with Frank Turner. Sorry, Brendan, I love you, but, you know
Yeah, no, I was a bit cheeky asking that. I think that's fair though. Yeah, I also had 30 minutes. I was a bit naughty and managed to get like 40. And I could tell when he turned around at the end, he was like looking at his door, like I could tell that he didn't really need to go. But hey, like,
you gotta take those extra minutes where you can, you know?
needed to complete the full circle.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it, you know?
I couldn't just leave it. Couldn't just leave it hanging. Couldn't have it complete. If it wasn't complete, then the show's gone. So we needed those 10 minutes. I had to genuinely because it was 30 minutes. He made the songs on the spot, and I thought at 30 minutes, I had to make him a feature on the fly. I genuinely had to make a feature on the fly, and it's now actually a feature that we will do. We will do in a bit because it came from a feature. I just had to make up on the spot there and then. Oh dear.
That's incredible.
Would you rather this is just like a generic one, I'm just curious to know which way your mind goes towards. Would you rather feel like you have to sneeze forever or feel like you need to pee forever?
Oh, wow. In terms of feeling like you need to pee forever, is this like sort of, when you're at your house door, you're scrambling to get your keys and it's getting worse and worse because you're within 10 yards of the bathroom? Or is it the kind of manageable, I can leave it half an hour kind of way?
In the middle, in I'd say in the middle. So like, like yeah, not like absolutely like if I don't do this right now, I'm gonna, wet myself, but not manageable. Still sort of just that like, should I not? It's a bit uncomfortable, but it's never gonna happen. You're never gonna wet yourself. So you don't know that. So you don't know that it's that you can't do it, but it's still, you still think it's gonna happen. That's the level I'm thinking.
Yeah. Um, I'd go for that then, to be honest. I would go for that because, like, for me, sneezing or like the feeling that you're gonna sneeze but you just can't, way more uncomfortable. It's way more uncomfortable, and it's like, I mean, I don't know, this is gonna sound so embarrassing saying this, but, like, whenever I get to that point where I feel like I need to sneeze, but it's just not there, I feel like I forget how to sneeze and also forget how to function because I'm just kinda like, you're sitting there pulling all these faces, and you're just like, "If I breathe a certain way, does this happen?" And then you just kind of forget, like, everything goes out the window. So I think I would rather the latter. I'd rather always feel like I need to pee.
That's fair. I think I agree with you. Are you when you do sneeze, are you a stifler? Are you a, let it all out?
Oh, I'll let it all out, but, like, sometimes, like, I will get, like, again, this is a really strange one, but if I sneeze really hard, sometimes I will feel like what can only be described as, like, a muscle spasm in random parts of my body. Yeah.
Okay.
It's horrible. Like, sometimes I'll sneeze and, like, literally, I'll feel like what feels like an electric shock going down to my elbow, and I'm just like, I sneezed." The 2 things are irrelevant to one another.
That's interesting. What is it? But it's random parts of your body. It's not like always down your elbow. It'll be like another part of your body that
No,
you might
it
get that
could
sort
be
of
like my
sensation.
yeah, it could be like my shoulder blade, like my collarbone, could be yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty uncomfortable. I've never had, yeah. I still would go for the pee because I'm a bit naughty. This is something I would definitely not recommend. Is I probably hold it, especially at work and stuff. I hold it in for way longer than I should.
That's fair. That's fair. I think, with your job though, I think it makes more sense, I think with your job like, I work in an office 9 to 5, and it's for me, I, like, kind of treasure taking as many of those breaks as I can, so
If I said that, I'd be in serious trouble. Right. Uh, okay. Okay, last one. And it's one I think we might have briefly had a chat about on social media. But would you rather listen to one song forever or a song one time only?
That's a tough one, and I know that, I remember we did briefly talk about this one, and I feel like I'm gonna change my answer because it's one of those ones that kinda goes with the weather, because whenever it comes like, especially if I hear a new song for the first time, like, especially with Spotify DJ, right? With the AI DJ and Spotify, I'll hear a song for the first time. I'll not even pay attention to who sings it or what it's called, and I'll really enjoy it. But I know it'll come back up another time, and, like, there are times where I'm like, "I really wanna listen to that song," so I'll go and find it, and then that'll be the song I listen to for a while. So, there are elements of I do both of those things. I listen to one song and never listen to it again, but sometimes I'll be like, "I really want to." Um, if I remember correctly, I think I said one song forever. But I think I'm gonna go with listen to one listen to, like, every song, but I can only listen to a song once and then never again. I think because I don't want to sort of discount the variety that comes with that. I think that, like, I like so many genres in music, and you yourself, like, if you're driving to work or something, sometimes you want to listen to something nice. Sometimes you wanna listen to something that's heavy or, so I don't think I could give up that kind of variety.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. If it was one song forever, what song would you choose?
This is one that would change all the time. So, like, and it's again, it goes back to what I was saying about the Spotify DJ thing. Like, sometimes if I hear a song I've never heard before, I'll go back and I'll listen. And I've had it with so many different ones before. Like, at the moment, it would probably be a song called Epiphany by a band called Unwell. Again, like, I'd never heard of them until I heard this song, or yeah, I think that was the first song that I'd heard from them. I heard they did a cover of Fast Car by Tracy Chapman, and then my algorithm kind of just sort of like turned more towards them. That would be it for now, right now.
Fair. But yeah, okay, fair enough. But that couldn't change then forever. That couldn't change
Yeah,
forever.
see, but that only because that's the one that I'm
Yeah.
really jamming with at the moment. But but
Yeah,
like I say, like, it does. I do kind of go through that where it will be the first song I'll listen to like every single day because that's just what's on my mind. But it happens, and that's the one at the moment. So I think that would be my one, my eternal one.
nice. Fair enough. I think a song one time only. I think as much as it sucked to just only hear one time, I think that you would just cherish that moment. I think if you hear a song, you're like, "That just sounds great," then you'll just remember where you were during that time. And to be honest, that does sometimes happen for me when I hear songs. There's, like, certain songs where I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I was there when I first heard it," like so yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's
'cause
so
'cause I just
true.
absolutely
Like
love it.
so true. It's like like it's situational awareness, I think. I think that's what that's called. But yeah, you always be able to relate like something to a particular situation. And music, it's always better when it's music. Like it's just always like makes it so much more special when you go back to listening to particular songs, I think.
Yes, definitely. Right, thank you so much for answering those Would You Rather questions. Hope they
My
weren't
pleasure.
too bad. What's the 3rd song that you've chosen for the full circle?
So the third song is The Reason by Hoobastank. Yeah, that's sort of absolute what people think is a one-hit wonder, but actually isn't. Hoobastank have so many amazing songs. They are a fantastic band, absolutely slept on. It's a song from a band I never thought I would have ever seen live before, but did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When did you see them?
I saw them in 2019. They did a co-headline tour of the UK with Buck Cherry, and they had an opening their opening band was a band called Adelita's Way, who I absolutely love. Like, I don't know very many people who actually have heard of Adelita's Way as well as me. Fantastic band. That was, like, their first time over in England, and I was like, "I have to go," and I love Buck Cherry. I think I've seen Buck Cherry 5 times, and Hoobastank were just a bonus, man. Like, Hoobastank were f and they were fantastic live. That gig itself was incredible. Did a meet and greet with Adelita's Way, got to see Hoobastank, and again, it's like, I think if anybody knows who has heard of Hoobastank, they'll know the reason, and that's it. But they played, like, their debut album start to finish because it was, like, the 15-year anniversary at the time, and or is the 15-year anniversary of The Reason. It's either the first or the second album, I'm not too sure, but, it couldn't have been a better set list.
Nice. Oh, yeah, The Reason are really yeah, I mean, most like you say, most people know The Reason. I have listened to that's the only album theirs I've listened to, and I must admit, I think there's some better songs on there, like Same Direction.
Pieces.
Yes, yes, but yeah, yeah, that's oh, what a gig. And I've also heard of Adelita's Way because, are you a fan of wrestling, WWE?
Yeah, well, that's exactly how I know
Ah,
Adelita's Way was from 2009, 2010 WWE Superstars, that Thursday the show they had on a Thursday, the 1 hour show, yeah. I that's how I, yeah, got to knowing them, and then just from there, I've followed them ever since, and man, they are slept on. So good.
I completely forgot about them until you mentioned. I was like, I know that band, and I think they also did the theme song for I think it was Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Ted DiBiase. I think they had a theme. They were called the Legacy, and I think they
Oh,
had a theme song called "It's a New Day." Check it
yes,
out if you haven't. Yeah, check it out. It's
yes,
a new day.
they did.
If yeah.
I was thinking of a different song, but
Mm.
yes, no, they did. They did do It's a New Day as well. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, and I that's a really good song. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
like
Yeah.
that song. I mean, I could talk about wrestling theme tunes and I could make this all wrestling and I could, and I'm sure it'd be great, but
I
you know,
love it though, like, it's good, it's awesome.
oh dear. But yeah, no, that's no fair. The reason Hoobastank really, really good song choice and a really good third song for the full circle. Right, the feature that I made up on the spot for Frank Turner and I've used it ever since. We're gonna do it now. It's called favorites. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but it gets you to think. And I mean, this is gonna be tough. What's your favorite game? Just put it out there. What's your favorite game?
Favorite game, Super Mario 64.
Okay, okay, so that was pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. Like, again, that could probably change, but again, it's very much that's probably in terms of all-timers, that's yeah.
Do you still have a Nintendo 64?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Still have
Yeah.
the original one that I had. from like 28 years ago.
It works.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Somehow.
No. Wow. And you still play it? You still get on Super Mario
Oh
and
yeah, like
yeah.
I actually have it and a Japanese console,
Okay.
literally right under my desk. That's where I play them like off my PC. Like it's just there.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so, so cool. I'd struggle with a favorite game. I think I'm just a huge uh I'm a little bit I just love the GTA series. I absolutely loved playing them.
But I think since they introduced the GTA Online, like just that all the open world stuff, I think that has just like it's been the best thing for the relevancy of GTA, apart from the constant, GTA 6 sort of thing. But because if you look at it from like a content perspective, there's unlimited things you can do, and I mean, the clips you see of it are so funny. It's like like a battle royale of just trolling each other, like, and it's so funny. I love it so much. I don't play it, but I love watching the videos of it because it's just so funny what people do. The
Yeah.
cheek of some people.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't played GTA Online in quite a while, but yes, I just remember playing it and just I mean, it was just absolute pandemonium. Like I would just I'm just doing my own thing and then suddenly someone just kills me and you're just like, "What are you doing? Like why have you just done that?" But
Mm.
yeah. Uh Back to music. What's your favorite gig that you've ever been to? You mentioned going to hundreds.
Oh yeah, my favorite gig that I've ever been to was Frank Turner in the Limelight Belfast in 2018 with support from Kells and the Homeless Gospel Choir. Like, that was special to me because, like, love Frank Turner, but it introduced me to Kells, and I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Kells, but, they are a Canadian band, and they're the type of band, like, they would have, like they do, like, an annual stadium show in Ontario in Canada, right? They're really big there, but they will, like, if they do a UK tour, they're playing, like, club shows for, like, 15-20 pound a ticket, and they are just phenomenal. Like, they became one of my favorite bands, like, very quickly after I seen them, and it like, for me, it sort of solidified, like, the rule of don't skip the support acts when you go to a gig. Like, so there was, like, as amazing as Frank Turner's set was, and it was just the perfect set list for the time. Everything was just perfect. It also kind of, like, led me to, like, one of my next favorite bands at the time. So, like, it was a very special gig.
Yeah, fair. That's You're right. Sometimes time doesn't allow us to sort of go to the supports, but if you can make the time, we saw Million Dead
Mhm.
in December time, which is Frank's old band, and that was
Yeah.
their last gig in London. And the band supporting them were called the Meths, who I hadn't known much about before. And they were great, and I've listened to their stuff, and yeah, they're so good, and so catchy, and yeah, it's so cool when you see a support act and just really enjoy their stuff.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, I think, I heard somebody say it one time, and the way they put it is, like, the reason you should never skip out on the openers or the support is because you could be missing out on your next favorite band. And I've learned that to be true, and it's such an incredible thing.
So true. Oh no, what a gig! What an incredible gig,
Yeah.
and to see one of your favorite artists, and then get a new favorite artist as well. That is
Oh, yeah,
wow.
man, 100%. Like, it's always be so special for me for that reason.
Fair. Now, this is tough, and this can be anything personal, professional, whatever. What's been your favorite life moment or life achievement?
Oh, getting married. Uh, m Yeah, marrying my wife. Like, simply, like, before that, I would have said getting engaged to her, but honestly, no, man. Honestly, I could say I know it's a cheesy answer, but no, like, literally the day her and I got married, like, that would probably be yeah, that would have to I unanimously would have to be it, to be quite honest. Like, you obviously I know you're engaged as well, and, I it's hard for me to sort of explain the feeling of it, but it's when when you're there that day, you just know it. Like, it's just you don't know nothing can compare to that no matter what it is.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that day, and I'm so happy for you both. When did you get
Oh,
married?
thank you. We got married in August 2024, so we're close to hitting the 18-month mark, and it's, it's gone by in a blur, man, honestly, and, like, from the day from the day of, like, there's so much of my wedding day I don't remember, and there's different reasons for it, like, I
Not
mean,
alcohol.
that's partly. But I say partly, so, like, it is as big a reason as people might think it is, and ultimately, yes, it is, but you are dragged from pillar to post the entire day. People want to talk to you, to catch up with you, to take photos and stuff, and y I think you've had a very successful wedding day, obviously outside of everything that happens that day is, if you look back and think, "I would have loved to have been a guest at that wedding," you know? And I think that's how, like, my wife and I look at it, and we're just like, "Yeah, that's, uh, that's how we know it was a good party."
Nice. Oh, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think, yeah, I think that is it's gonna be up there. That's I mean, like you
Yeah.
say, it's no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer, and I'm so happy for the both of you, and
No, thank you, man. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
that's
And
so
obviously,
cool.
like, the same for you and your fiance whenever you guys have your big day as well.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Yeah, no, really looking forward to that as well. Now, I'm being a bit cheeky. You can say no comment for this one if you want
Oh.
to.
Oh.
Who's been your favorite guest?
Ooh, favorite guest? Um, hmm. So there is it's a hard question to answer, and it's like not to do with it's nothing to genuinely do with like favoritism or like to discount on like other people and stuff like that. But the way I look at that is because I've been asked this question like before and not really kind of knowing how to answer it. But like when I've thought about it, I kind of have to look at it in terms of like the impact that it had on me, given well, really it just like sort of the impact based on like how I might have been that day or like sort of how I left the interview or I think it's all well and good to look at things from like a metrics point of view and analytics and stuff like that, but doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. Um, so out of all the episodes that I've released, to cover myself here, I would say one guest that particularly sticks out in mind for me was I interviewed a man called Roy Reed, who is a sort of transformative coach, and he bases a lot of things around like the philosophy of trust. And I interviewed him on a day I had a particularly bad day mentally. I had a horrible day at work. Came home and I was like, I don't want to do this today. I want to reschedule. But it was the sort of thing. It was like I was kind of at that point with it where I was like, no, I need to sort of, you know, the podcast to become more professional for me at this point. So I kind of had to really live up to that. So, and I realized I hadn't sent him a recording link for like a meeting link for the episode. So I sent him it over and I was just like, oh yeah, just send the link over, just for today. And the back of my mind, I was kind of hoping to get a response of, oh yeah, something's come up. Can we reschedule? And but no, he came back. He was like, right, well, that's okay. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Okay, so I was like, "Right, we're doing this. We're doing this." So I pushed myself into doing it. And again, one of those things, I say push myself into doing it as if it was this noble act. I just was like, had a bad day, but I had to push through something because, when you're a podcast and you have guests, you're on their time. You have to kind of really, you just kind of have to push through these things sometimes. So we had the interview and I left it. I would say that I left it a changed man because like this guy had open heart surgery after he had like what was called an aortic dissection, where basically, like, his aorta and his heart had just split. And, he had open heart surgery, got put into a coma, got stents and all, and then he had another heart surgery a few months later. Um, to the point where it was like he had like v- very, very low percentage of survival chance for him to come through. And then so they put him in the coma, let the body do its thing, and he made a full recovery against all odds. Had to learn to walk again, had to learn, all these different things. And he was telling me all this, and I was like, there is no way, like, I mean, this is just incredible. Like, you would not think that you've had this life changing thing, this all these life changing events that have happened to you, and you are functioning the way you are right now. Like, it was so eye opening, to be honest with you. And it was no, do you ever have it way where, like, you have a conversation with somebody and, like, all of a sudden your problems don't feel like as big as they are anymore? Like that kind of way. And it was like, I think to really see what this man had become literally, and I can't, I don't even think saying when he was at death's door does it any justice, to be quite honest with you. He had one foot in the door at that point, and it was, that episode certainly sticks out for me. Um And then, like, well, this is on this other episode that sticks out for me is very much like it's on the opposite end of the spectrum. So I know it got a bit, like, sort of deep there, but I interviewed an author, and he's a former intelligence expert called Guy Mars. And he, in his sort of, like, later years in life, he started writing, spy fiction just because, and he was a tech expert for 40 years and decided to sort of write about his experiences in a sort of dramatized fictional way. But this guy, his life was basically a spy movie anyway. I would have, like, you asked me, would I rather 20 minutes more with Frank Turner or Brendan Bryan? I would have loved 20 more minutes with this guy. Liz, he had stories where he was like, he lived on a yacht, or like a lived on like a boat for a few years with his son, because he was like, "Well, I wanna live in this neighborhood because it's a really nice neighborhood, but I can't really afford a condo here. So do you know what? I'll just live on my boat." And then like, him and his wife, who he married after, like, owned a condo in Mexico, and it got broken into, and by somebody who was like a messenger for the cartel. So then he confronted
Oh,
the
what?
cartel and was like, can you sort this guy out because he's, and the cartel were just like, "Yep." And then they managed to get him out of the house, and I was sitting there just like mind blown the entire thing. So I know that's such a I know it's such a long-winded answer for the question, but those 2 particularly stick out because you have something that's so, like, you know, life affirming, and something that really just shows you how precious life really is, to literally something that I was sitting there, like, I remember basically waking my wife up after and being like, "Oh my god, you need to hear this." Like the most adrenaline inducing thing. Um, yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, so I do apologize, it's such a long-winded answer, but yeah, those 2 particularly stick out in my mind, um, in terms of, like, everything that I just said.
Incredible. No, fair play. And no, I wasn't asking it so you'd be like, "Oh yeah, DC." That just to clarify, because if I was doing that, that'd be a bit weird.
What if I did just say that though? Like, literally just dead look dead in the camera, just say DC.
I would have said you're lying. I was like, if I was better than, like, even like if you're saying that, then something's gone wrong. Like, genuinely, like, if you're saying that I'm better than Frank Turner, then that's.
Well, I mean, again,
Well, no, I'm not
it's
asking
like
you.
what's that?
I'm not asking you to
No,
to, to
I
reveal if I am or
know.
not. I don't.
But like I say, to
I
reiterate, it's I always think it's less about the the esteem of the person or whatever you wanna call it, but, like, about the sort of impact of the episode. I think that's kind of the way I like to look at it.
Definitely, definitely. And no, it's both of those people have had, wow, incredible stories. And I'm glad you've been able to speak to them and give them the platform to share it as well. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Absolutely
man,
amazing.
honestly. Life-changing stuff for sure.
Oh my goodness, for sure. Right, let's get back onto music. What is the next song, the fourth song you've chosen for the full circle?
Okay. So the 4th song I've chosen is "Peace Is Free" by Blackstone Cherry, and the reason that I've chosen this song is because it's the best song I've ever heard live.
Oh wow.
Yep. So, I don't know, are you familiar with the song or
I know Blackstone Cherry because Abby, my fiance, is a massive fan of theirs. I have listened to their songs. I probably have heard it, but I probably
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to know that was the name of the song.
No, totally fair, totally fair. So, like, Blackstone Cherry, again, that I've seen them 5 times, I think, and this would have been the 3rd time I've seen them. 3rd time I've seen them, and they played this song, and it actually became their closing song after this particular tour for, like, quite a bit, and it's a very sort of, like, somber song, talking about, like, kind of, like, hardships and stuff and all this kinda, like, conflict around the world, stuff like that, and, like, hence this has the title "Peace is Free," and they so it's usually got, like, a full band setup and everything, um, but when they played it this time, they just had it with slowed it down, just the guitars, and, it's just absolutely beautiful, and you had, like, everyone had, like, the phone lights shining, and they played this song so emotional, and then it got to the last chorus, and then the whole band kinda kicked in, and it just was, like, just powerful. It's the only way I can describe it, and I've heard the song live a couple of times since, and it's just yeah. Like, every time I just get goosebumps thinking about it. Like, if I could ever relive a moment, like, of a gig, it's to hear that song again live for the first time like I did then. That would be it for me.
Nice, yes. Like we were saying earlier, like it just when you hear something for the first time, whether it's in a live setting, whether it's not, like, but to hear that in that way, you will always cherish that moment. You're always going to remember that moment for sure.
100%. 100%, yeah. Like, it just yeah, it was, I think it was, like, the first time I nearly cried at a gig.
Oh wow. Oh man. Oh, yeah, what an experience. And I am going to listen to that song and hopefully cherish that experience of hearing it. And I need to see them. My partner, my Abby's seen them a few times. I've not seen them yet, so maybe I should try and see them at some point as well.
Well, it's interesting you say that because in I think it's October of this year, October, maybe going into November, um, they're doing a 20-year anniversary tour of their very first album, but it's like an evening with gig, so they're doing 2 sets. So I think it's no opener,
Oh,
no supports or anything, they're just doing 2 sets of playing the first album, start to finish, and then, like, a greatest hits kinda set, so
oh wow. Oh, I
yeah.
did not either we knew that or we I think if he said October, November, we normally go away, so maybe that's why we didn't. Yes, I think that was mentioned. There's a lot of bands. It's so frustrating. There was a lot of bands of like Julian Kay who I spoke to. They were touring in November, and I was like, and I felt so awkward. They were like, "Hey, you can come, say hello," and I'm like, "We're
Oh, man,
away.
that's
I'm so
awesome.
sorry." Happened with Ocean Grove. They were like, "Hey, we're gigging in November." I'm like, "I'm away. I'm so sorry." Like it was just so sad to be offered
That's
this
so
and to
cool
just be
that they've
told
got back
no.
to you, though, like, the fact that they've got back to you and said, like, "Yeah, come on ahead," that's incredible.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I just felt bad being like, "Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry."
Yeah, no, I get that. I get
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But are you gonna go? Are you gonna go to the Blackstone Cherry ones
Oh,
then?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got them in presale at that point. It was just like, yeah, I have to. Like, I've every single time they've been to Ireland, I've seen them, and well, that's not every single time, but, like, since I was, like, 17 or something like that.
Okay. Nice. And they'll finish with Pieces 3, you said? Or they might not?
So, they did for, I think, a couple of tours after the first time that they after that time I heard it the way I described it, like, I think they finished with it for, like, maybe the following 2 tours, and, like,
Okay.
I think it's something different now, but yeah, like, Blackstone Cherry, they'd be the kind who would, like, they would have had one particular song that they would have finished every single gig on, but then it just changed every so often, and, I like that, like, especially because they, um it didn't necessarily, like, become, like, a new song that they sort of started playing last. It was, like, it could have been something old or whatever, and that's always I like that kind of variety when it comes to, like, a band closing out a show.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, yeah, same. Yeah, I think that's really important. Nice. No, excellent. And one more song to go. But before that, I've got I've got a BuzzFeed quiz. Okay.
Oh, love it.
So tell us your gaming habits and we'll tell you what video game character you are.
Okay.
So apparently BuzzFeed, they apparently know everything about everyone just based
Yeah,
on some questions. And let's see if they get it spot on.
of course.
Low expectations. When are when are you done with a game? Is it there's choices. So is it after I've beaten the final boss, once I've gotten every single collectible, whenever I get bored of it, or when I get a new game I'm more excited about?
Collectible. Need to finish the
Oh,
collectibles.
really?
Yeah.
So you're 100% completion guy.
Oh, I'm a completionist, yeah, every time.
Fair. I would have gone for once I've eaten the final boss. I like doing the side stories in between, but
Mhm.
once the main story's done, I'm done.
Yeah. Like, if I can have 100% done by the time I face the final boss, great. Some games, it's just not possible. But, yeah, no, I think I would be definitely a completionist, but, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, for me anyway.
No fair. What's your gaming setup like? A desk setup with LED lights, a gaming chair, and a headset, a flat screen, and super comfy lounge chair. I'll game wherever, couch, bed, desk, or I like to game at my friend's house.
The closest one would be the first one, just the yeah, like, headset, office chair, but minus the LED lights.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I like the sound of the LED lights, I just don't think they suit my kind of my vibe.
No, fair. Yeah, LED lights would be pretty cool. You come across a mini boss that you probably can't beat. What do you do? Search the web for tips and then go for it. Charge in with reckless abandon. I'm gone. Time to find some super easy enemies to level up on. Or I've saved so many power ups for this moment.
Reckless abandonment every single time. That's the first thing I do, because okay, so the first when you ask that question, the first thing that comes to mind is Pokemon.
Yep.
But I will always try and just go in, do what I can. Um, but then I will go and try and, like, level up. But no, reckless abandonment first every time. I like to describe myself as an agent of chaos sometimes when it comes to gaming.
Nice. What's your favorite type of game? Classic platformer, couch co-op, open world, casual party game, family games, or retro?
Classic platformer. Yeah, classic platformer. Just a fiend for them. I do like all the others now, to be fair, but yeah, I grew up on platformers. And I always kind of I always, like, moved along with the times a lot slower than most people do. Like, I still play N64, like, I mean, okay, I played PS5 and stuff too, but it took me a long time to kinda get to there because I couldn't let go of what I was, like, grew up with.
Fair. I've always been a PlayStation person. My mates have got all the Nintendos, and I love playing at theirs, but I just love the PlayStation classics. A game that I really wish would come back is Splinter Cell. That was what I
Yeah.
loved.
Yeah. I'm surprised that, like, it hasn't like the original PS2 one, you mean, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised, but didn't did Xbox not get, like, the or Microsoft or something? I don't know.
Oh,
I
did
thought there was
they?
something with that, but I'm not I could be wrong. I don't wanna spread misinformation, but
No, that's fair.
I could be wrong, but yeah, because I know a lot of people have talked about that recently. I've heard rumblings.
Interesting. Whom do you like to play with? With friends online? I'm good playing alone usually. With friends in real life or randoms online, I can make friends with anyone.
By myself. Yeah. I think that comes with me, like, always, like, growing up with, like, the Nintendo 64, then the PS2, it was like, I mean, if you weren't playing with friends, you were playing by yourself, and, like, I was always that over competitive one who was, like, really good at video games, and all my mates touched grass, and it was yeah, so as much as I did too, I just spent just as much time playing video games.
You said I've got a friend who has actually been on the show himself. He's the one that's talking about. He's got all the Nintendo stuff. He is just incredible at Mario Kart, incredible, and it infuriates us, like absolutely infuriates us. I wonder if you and my mate Phil should have a battle against each other
So
because
here's the funny thing about Mario Kart. Mario Kart 64, amazing. I am amazing at that. Any other Mario Kart, not that good. But like I'm it's one of those things. I'm not competitive with Mario Kart, weirdly enough, because Mario Kart is designed to be incredibly unfair. And it's more about those like it's less about winning and more so about like those rage moments that stop you from winning. So it's like, I'm not bothered that I didn't finish first, but it's just I'm so annoyed at the fact that I got blue shelled right at the end of the third lap because it's just not right. It's just not fair. So it's yeah, but I know people who are just so good at it, but I wish I fell into that category, but I don't mind the fact that I'm not.
fair. No, that's fair. Okay, right. How long is your average gaming sesh? 20 to 30 minutes at a time, about an hour, a few hours, or pretty much all weekend?
A few hours. A few hours. Yeah. Like I'm always putting aside like 3 hours or something, just to yeah, I feel like that's enough. You put the time aside for it and yeah.
Nice. No, fair, yeah. I'm usually about an hour. I'm like bite size. So like in the evening, I'll be like, right, I'll do what? So at the moment, I'm playing Spider-Man 2. So I'll be like, if I get a chance to play it, I'll be like, right, let's do like either I'll spend like half an hour doing some side quests or half an hour doing like one main mission. Um, yeah, that's usually how I do it. Because it just allows the game to just continue a bit longer. I don't know, get you the because some people just bash out the whole day and it's like, well, you've just finished the whole game. I
No,
don't
I
know.
100% get what you mean. Yeah. Like I think that's one of those things that like a lot of people in the game, they either are they just go through it or they savor it. And I kind of think savoring is definitely the way to go. I would be kind of that sort of like I'd be in between. Like I would kind of sit all day at something, but then I'd be happy to go back to it or something. I did it with Astrobot. I was able to savor Astrobot, and I was so glad that I did because that was phenomenal.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that. I do want to play that. I'm a bit behind on games as you can tell with seeing other playing Spider-Man 2, but I will get when it gets released, whenever it gets released, I will get a GTA 6 on the day. And who knows, maybe I'll take an annual leave day just to play that one. I
Just
don't know.
right, yeah, absolutely.
How how do you design your character? Do you get them to look like you? Do you get them to look like a monster? Do you like your character to look cool? Or I try to make them look funny?
I always try and make them look like me. I can't even give a reason this for this one.
There's probably some psychoanalysis there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, to be honest. I think it's like I don't know, maybe it's some kinda Jumanji type thing, I'm not too sure, but, like, I, um I don't know, like, I've always, like, because it's me playing the game kinda thing, it's like maybe it's like you kind of, like, put yourself into I don't know. I actually genuinely don't think I have a reason for it, more just the fact that that's just always what I've done. I always used to do it with, like, the WWE games as well, like, Raw's War to 2K25, which I just put it up the other day, like, I always now, obviously, like, I make them, like, muscle-bound versions of me, but, that's what you do, like, but yeah.
Yeah. That yeah, it's true. I agree. I make them usually look like me. If I have to, like, create one, I usually make them look like me. How this is the last one. How do you handle collectibles in games? I need to get everyone. I'm racing through the levels, no time to collect them. I only look for them if they give me an advantage, or I don't worry about them. If I find them, I find them.
I need to collect them. Yeah, yeah, I just need to, I don't know, like, I think it's if you if a game comes with a percentage, whenever you're loading it up and there's a percentage, I just think, yeah, I can't leave it complete. I can't leave it at 99%. I have to, you know, unless like they're those games that go to like 105%, like the old Crash Bandicoots. No, I'm not interested in that. Like 100% is 100%.
Fair. No. Yeah, you're a completionist. That's fair. Right. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you what the description is, and you can tell me if you think you know what this is. I doubt it.
Okay.
You're level-headed, and when things get crazy, you get to work to make them better. You're great you're great at putting out fires, sometimes literally, and you know how to work well with others. Firstly, do you agree with that? And secondly, what do you reckon they're talking about?
I say level-headed, yeah. Like, I think I'd agree with that. I'd agree mostly. I'd agree mostly. As for what do you say, putting out fires sometimes literally. That's the sort of thing that's thrown me because, like, for me, it's like as honest as the answers were, there's always like when you do these quizzes, there's always an answer that you hope that, or like a result that you hope that you get. Like for me, it's obviously going to be Super Mario, but I highly doubt that it is. Um, I have no idea.
I- they think you're a chef from the game Overcooked.
Oh, I couldn't be further from that. That no, I love Overcooked. I I have a friend who I'll play Overcooked with. Like we haven't touched the file. I have it on my Switch. I haven't touched it in about over a year because I can't play it with my wife and he can't play it with his girlfriend because it would just lead in divorce. It would just end in divorce. It's that bad. But him and I, we are like just so militant at it. And even if we fail a level, we just, and he's not a gamer by any means, but it's just the odd thing he will take a shine to. But yeah, like yeah, there's no way I'm a chef from Overcooked. Like I'm kind of bad at that game, but I love it. It's just yeah. That's a that's the sort of, the level of quality from BuzzFeed, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That, like I said, low bar, and it was maybe even lower.
Possibly. It's so niche. I like that it's so niche though in terms of the result it's
Yeah,
given. That's like that
that's
that's
true.
really kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I yes, you about Overcooked. I've played it with Abby, with my fiance, and yeah, we were shouting. Well, no, we were not happy with each other. Let's just say that shouting sounds a bit harsh. We were not happy with each other.
Yeah,
We played
yeah.
it once or twice, and we were like, "What are you doing?" You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like, it's not like the games like It Takes Two or Split
Yeah.
Fiction or anything where it's like, yes, you have to work together in those games, but there is that element of you're relying on each other, but you can also be free to kind of go and do
Yes.
certain things at the same time to help. And yeah, whereas Overcooked is far too fast. It's just, yeah. Like I say, I love it, but I would never play it with my wife. And she agrees with me, thankfully.
Oh dear. Well, there you go. BuzzFeed getting it wrong as per usual. Right. Let's sorry. Let's wrap things up. What is the last song for the full circle?
Okay, so the last song, which is that does create the full circle, is called it's a song called "Control" by From Fall to Spring. And From Fall to Spring, they are a German like metalcore, new metal type band. Okay, imagine like a sort of heavier Hybrid Theory Meteor version of Linkin Park. Imagine that kind of thing. And that was the last song that I heard live from a headlining band, thus creating the full circle from that to Message in a Bottle being the first. Yeah, but like that aside, I from Fall to Spring, I think I came across them on Spotify maybe 3 years ago. They just sort of skyrocketed to being one of my favorite bands, and they were like, I mean, I could have put this in the sort of territory of like, song from a band I never thought I would have seen live, but you know, unestablished, and they kind of just like kept me ear to the ground, and got to see them back in October in Manchester, and phenomenal, so good. Like, I mean, I mean, as you get older and you go to a gig, you kind of get to the point where you're like, you want to sit down, right, during a gig. You just want to have a seat and you just want to like enjoy watching the show. But sometimes you kind of want to relive like those old sweaty club shows that from way back when. That's exactly what that was, and it just was phenomenal for me. And like that was the song that they finished with, but it's also my favorite song by them, so it was like made it even better. And yeah, like that's I was glad I got to put that song in there, but like yeah, that's my full circle moment. And I'm sure the theme behind the songs that I've picked has probably made itself very evident over the last hour, but
Yes, yes. Do you want to? Well, let's just confirm. So, Control, Fall to Spring, the last song of the full circle. And do you want to? What has been the theme then, Andy? What? Just in case there's someone that hasn't figured it out.
yeah. So the theme has been songs that have stuck out to me that I've seen live from particular bands.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. Some great songs. Hence, completing the full circle. Yay! Amazing. Thank you so much, Andy. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to have you on the show. It's been great. I've really enjoyed every minute of it. Was there any parting words or anything you wanted to plug or share before we say our goodbyes?
Well, first of all, I would just like to thank you for having me on the show. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure as well. I really, really enjoyed this, and it was it really got me thinking about the songs beforehand. Like that was something I enjoyed thinking about it. I got to like relive all these moments. But yeah, like I would love it if you could follow me on social media, Behind the Camera with Andy Games, Behind the Camera Podcast. You'll be able to find me. We've got a nice big blue logo. You'll be able to find me anywhere. And yeah, as we touched on earlier on, I do have a book coming out in March, on the 5th of March, called Behind the Camera: The Journey So Far. Again, if anything I've said's been of interest, I would love for you to check that out as well. But once again, thank you very much, DC. It's been an absolute pleasure being on the show. I love what you've been doing for the last near year with Full Circle Podcast, and it's only gonna get bigger and better, man. And I'm absolutely love what you're doing, and it's amazing to be a part of that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. No, that's very kind. And yes, likewise, your podcast Behind the Camera, incredible. And you are absolutely smashing it. And yeah, getting bigger, better, and just absolutely love it. Love the interview style. Love the content, and looking forward to reading the book as well. Right, I end the show in only one way, and it's okay if you don't do it. It's okay. Do you eat beef?
Do I eat beef? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. So ignore this. Ignore what I'm about to say. But remember this. Stay safe. Don't eat beef.